Ragin Cajuns basketball gets to dance one more time in March Madness. We'll talk about it here on Ragin Rundown. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode here on Ragin Rundown, the show where you will know all things UL sports. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you know you can always call me Fitz. Before we get started, please do me a favor. Make sure you like this video, leave a comment down below, share it, but most importantly, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you're listening on podcast, make sure you follow the feed, rate us, and leave us a review because that will help us to get in front of more Ragin Cajun fans just like yourself. And in today's episode, we're talking about college basketball. Both the men and women of Louisiana advanced to the next round of the Sun Belt Conference tournament. The men came into the tournament as the number 12 seed, while the ladies were the 14th seed with just 4 wins on the season as a whole. And we'll start off talking about the ladies, and then we'll venture over into the men, and then we'll wrap things up with a quick snapshot talking about the soon-to-be sellout crowd on Wednesday night as UL and LSU will battle on the baseball diamond. In terms of the women's basketball team, to be honest, I did not expect this team to get out of the first round, not because of anything other than the fact that it's been an extremely long season. They have been hampered by injury. They have lost multiple games by double digits, and not just like 10 points, but up to as big as like 50 points. And as much as it would have been easy to give up and lay down and not continue to fight, this team did that. They played this game for the full 40 minutes. They gave it everything they had, and they came out on top. And that is extremely commendable on all fronts for Gary Broadhead and his entire staff, and for those young ladies, all 12 of them coming in, not being on the team in 2025 and getting it done here in the 2026 campaign. So we'll go over the game flow and we'll recap and talk about who really stood out in this one. Obviously, the biggest headline is Mikaylah Manley with the outing that she had. So in the opening quarter, Louisiana trailed 20-9 at the end, so they were down 11. We've seen them multiple times throughout the season go on these scoring droughts, whether it was in the second quarter, the third, or even the fourth, where they're playing pretty good, and then there's just a long run or a lapse of moments where they're just not scoring, not putting the ball through the hoop, and teams take advantage of it, and they eventually blow them out. This happened from the first quarter. So that means it was almost like, here we go again. And again, it would have been very easy for this team to say, hey, y'all, we done came out here on the beach. We already out here anyway. Let's just bow out gracefully, hit the beach tomorrow, and then head on back to Lafayette and try to start things up for next season. But they continue to battle. They go into the second quarter. They come out the gate. And after going down 13, they go on a 9-0 run. They cut the deficit to 4. So it was a Stephanie Mosley jumper. Imani Daniel had a layup. She hit a free throw. Mikaylah Manley had a pair of free throws. Stephanie Mosley hits another jumper. They cut the lead to 4. Then Georgia State hits another three-pointer. They go up 7. UL answers with 4 more. They cut the lead to 3. And then Georgia State goes on a 7-0 run. They go up 10. UL then answers with 4 points, and they go into half down by 6, 34-28. Again, not backing down, continuing to battle. We get to the third quarter. UL cuts the lead down to 2. Georgia State again answers, 7-0 run. UL answers immediately with a 7-0 run of their own to cut it back to 2. Georgia State expands it back to 6 points. UL once again scores a couple buckets. Mikaylah Manley hit a three-pointer. Amijah Price had a jumper. They cuts it down 45-44. Georgia State hits a three-pointer. UL comes down, hits a 2 from Mikaylah Manley again. They're down 48-46 going to the fourth quarter. Tournament basketball, sometimes all you have to do is stay within striking distance. And that was the perfect thing that they needed to do. UL comes out. Amani Daniel hits a layup. They tie it at 48. Georgia State hits a three-pointer. Then Kayla Norris hits a triple. They tie it at 51. Lily Baugh hits a triple. They go up 54-51, taking their first lead of the game. Mikaylah Manley gets a fast break layup. Now they're up 5. That's an 8-0 run. After that, Georgia State cuts down back to 2. Mikaylah Manley hits a three-pointer. You're hearing me call her name a lot, and that's because she had a huge game. They go up 5. They never gave the lead back, even though Georgia State did tie it up at 59. UL responds with a 7-0 run, and then from there it was pretty much free throws, all of them coming from Mikaylah Manley to close it out. They win the game 71-66. So for the Cajuns, they had 3 players to score in double figures. Kayla Norris had 13 points. She was 3 of 8 from 3. They had a couple of big triples that we talked about in the game flow. Amani Daniel, the freshman, had 10 points and also 5 rebounds. She was 4 of 8 from the floor. But Mikaylah Manley put it on her mind that she was not about to go down without a fight. And this young lady was able to come out and have literally a career game and score 32 points, putting her team in position to be able to close it out. Now, she did make 11 of her 12 free throws, which that is incredibly important. The team as a whole was 81% from the free throw line, and I truly believe that helped to make a lot of the difference. In tournament basketball, and we'll talk about this more when we get to the men's side of things, in tournament basketball, it's not always about who's playing the best. It's who can strike when the iron is most hot. UL stayed within striking distance in this entire game, and right there in the fourth quarter, they had a scoring run. They took the lead. They cut possessions down by holding the basketball throughout the shot clock and being able to take quality shots and forcing Georgia State to take tougher shots. And as a result, they cut the quarter down in half. Now you have Georgia State panicking because they want to try to take the lead back, and then they were able to pull it out in the end. Kudos to these young ladies. Not to mention also Mikaylah Manley led you in, or she was second in rebounds. She had 9. Amaja Price, who's normally been huge for you scoring-wise, she only had 1 bucket that she made. She was 1 of 7 from the floor, but she led you in rebounds with 10. So this is going to take a lot for these young ladies to continue to try to battle through. You had Kayla Norris and also Mikaylah Manley to both play 40 minutes, so they played the entire game without coming off the floor. UL as a team played and they played 8 players. So Stephanie Mosley came off the bench, Lily Baugh came off the bench, and Marina Artero came off the bench as well. UL got 8 points from Stephanie Mosley and then a triple from Lily Baugh coming off the bench to help them as well. But this was truly the Mikaylah Manley show. She willed this team to a victory. There's no telling what can happen from here because it's March. You just never know with the madness. They do play a ULM team that is the 10th seed, I believe, and they will play them tomorrow at this same time at 2 o'clock as they played today. UL lost to ULM in both of those games. The first one they lost by 10, and the second one they lost 102-58. So there's no telling what this game will look like, but kudos to these young ladies for going there to Pensacola and saying we're not going down without a fight. Coach Broadhead mentioned that after the game, and here's what he had to say.
For us, I think, we take the mindset of, hey, we have nothing to lose, man. We're just going to come out and play our basketball and have some fun at it. And I think that's what the kids did. Our practice was really, really fun. I think when you shorten up things in life, people see the light, and I think that's what it is. We toured in. I told them when we left, we just got 7 more games, and then we'll worry about the 8th one. And it is what it is. I know they got some pretty good teams in our league, but to me, it's the toughest team that's going to win. It's not always the best team that's going to be in our league that's going to win. It's going to be the toughest team, and if it is the best team, great. But if it's not, why not us?
So the women's basketball team gets one more opportunity to play. And like I mentioned, who knows what could potentially happen from there. We'll see tomorrow when they play at 2 o'clock p.m. I'm going to take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we'll talk about Quantas White and his Ragin Cajuns and what they were able to do against Georgia State as well when we come back here on Ragin Rundown. Now, before this team, the men's basketball team, stepped into the conference tournament, I dropped an episode where I said they were the most dangerous team in the Sun Belt. You can go and check that out here on the channel. And after I dropped that episode, they didn't play their best basketball to close out the regular season. But the way that they were able to play in this particular game still gives me a thought that they can still be a threat to teams in the conference tournament. Obviously, they're going to have to win 7 as well because they didn't handle business there on the back half of the regular season. They weren't able to get a bye or two to the later rounds of the tournament. And so if they want to try to make magic happen, they're going to have to win 7. But the first domino was able to fall for them. They also played Georgia State, and they were able to pick up an 84-75 victory. Looking at how it all panned out for them, it was very close in this one for much of the game. Going into halftime, UL led they trailed 38-36. And then when they came out into the second half, they had a huge 13-0 run that propelled them to a 49-41 lead. And as they continued to go through their scoring runs, as we know, basketball is a game of runs, as they were able to build off of those runs, it helped them to keep pace away from the Panthers. They were able to eventually build their lead to as large as 13 and hold on to win it down the stretch. Like I mentioned, that 13-0 run was kind of the difference maker for them. And then from there, they kept them at bay. Obviously, Georgia State had answers after the 13-0 run. They score 5, cut the lead to 3. UL answers with a Dorian Finister jumper. Todd Jones gets a 3-pointer. They go up 6. Georgia State gets a couple more free throws. UL goes on a 6-0 run. Dorian Finister hits 2 free throws. Jaxon Olvera gets a dunk. He hits 2 free throws. They go up 10. Milan Mejia had a 3-pointer at some point in there to make it a 12-point game. And they just continued to find ways to keep this lead throughout. I think from there, the lowest that the margin would be for Georgia State would be 5, which that would be with about 20 seconds to go. Because at that point, it's make a shot, foul, make a shot, foul, make a shot, foul. And again, similar to what the women were able to do, UL was able to handle business at the free throw line as they shot 35 of them. My goodness. And they made 26 of them. So they were 74% from the free throw line. So that helped them a ton. In the final box, Jaxon Olvera finishes with 29. Devion Laverne has 12. Dorian Finister has 13. That's no surprise. Like what we've talked about before, those are your big 3. Those are your guys that you're going to expect to lead you in the box score. So that's no surprise. Like I had mentioned before, it's going to be about the other guys that are around them that's going to give you an opportunity to be within these games. And down the stretch, anything can happen. You were able to get that from your bench. You had 6 points from Jeremiah Evans. You had 10 points from Karis Bilal. You had a bucket from Darius Woodson, and you had 4 points from Kyron Ratliff. So you had 22 points from the bench. And in comparison, if I can get it pulled up here, in comparison for Georgia State, they had just 6. That's what made the difference for you because they had 4 players to score in double figures, including Jelani Hamilton, who eventually fouled out for him, who had 20. That's the difference. And the fact that you were able to turn them over more times than you gave it away, 14-9. That's your difference maker. And you out-rebounded them 40-30, which is something that doesn't happen a ton. So kudos to these fellas, man. Like I said, anything is possible in March, and I am not going to just pick any team just because I cover them. Like, obviously, it always makes it better if a team is playing well because that is where I'm able to go. If they go to the Sun Belt Championship, I'm able to cover that. But based on what I've seen in a lot of the games that this team has played, this league, I mean, they finished there near the bottom of the standings, and they were only 5 games out of first place. So the margin for the best versus the worst isn't an incredible margin in the league right now. But the thing that matters most is defense, because that is what will win you a championship. Again, fatigue is going to be a factor as this tournament goes on, because in terms of minutes, I believe that Devion and Jaxon Olvera had the most minutes played in this game. If I can try to get it pulled back up. Yeah. Devion Laverne had 38 minutes played. Dorian Finister had 32 minutes played. Jaxon Olvera had 31 minutes played. So fatigue is going to be a factor. And that may damage your opportunity to score the basketball. That just means that you're going to have to attack the rim more, get to the free throw line, make the shots from the charity stripe, and then play defense. That's how you're going to have to win it. That's been a lot of their formula in some of these games that they've won, and this could very well be your formula in order to win it down the stretch. So next up for Louisiana is a rematch with James Madison. Obviously, that was the game they won on the road with a buzzer-beating three-pointer by Dorian Finister to win it 64-61. James Madison obviously has one more day of rest than what the Cajuns have, but like we've mentioned before, anything is possible. That game will tip off at 5 o'clock. So you have both your basketball programs playing again on Wednesday, the women playing ULM at 2, and then right after the men playing at 5 p.m. Also going on Wednesday night will be a matchup that a lot of people will be at, including myself. Ragin Cajuns baseball will welcome in the defending national champion LSU Tigers, who are currently the number two team in the nation and are 11-2 on the season. They recently lost a game against Northeastern. Their other loss came against McNeese the previous week in a midweek matchup. It's going to be a very interesting game, because what we've seen in UL's midweek games is that Sawyer Pruitt has been on the bump. He's been the guy to go out, and he's had great performances. Pretty much every outing that he's had, whether that be in relief or whether that be starting, he has been lights out. Bottom line. And as much as this may feel like a Super Bowl for some people, or I've seen online where LSU fans are saying that this is UL's Super Bowl, like we've talked about before, midweek games do not always make or break your season. They can help a ton in a lot of instances, but they're not always going to make or break. What's going to be important in this game for UL is that if they can limit their mistakes, and if they have an opportunity late in the ball game with runners in scoring position, if they can get some timely hits, because obviously you're not going to see LSU's ace out there because they're going to be pitching on the weekend. So if you can thump up some of those guys that they're running out there in the midweek and can limit your mistakes defensively, which hasn't been something that you've struggled with this season. If you can keep it that way, you have an opportunity to knock off the number 2 team in the country. And from a confidence standpoint, it helps you a ton. It does. And from a regional rivalry standpoint, there's going to be a lot of boos, and there's going to be a lot of cheers, and it's going to be a lit atmosphere. It's going to be great all around. I expect Sawyer Pruitt to get the start on the bump, and I expect guys like Colt Brown and Rigoberto Hernandez and Maddox Mendino to be able to come out and try to create chaos with their bat. And then from there, if the Cajuns are able to get timely hits going, it's an opportunity that anything can happen. Not sure who LSU may run out to start, because they've had a variety of guys to run out there in their midweek matchups. It's really kind of been bullpen by committee, or really just been bullpen type of games for them in their midweekers. So there's no telling what we may see. They do have a local guy on the team, local in terms of Lafayette and Grant Fontenot. But there's nothing other than that would be any kind of draw for the 3-7. So it'll be a good one. Great atmosphere, great opportunity. Like I said, we'll be in the house. If you see me out there, say what's up. And if you're watching and you made it to this point in the video, man, it's always love for you guys for supporting what we're doing here on Ragin Rundown. That's going to wrap up this episode of Ragin Rundown. If you made it to this point in the video, like I said, thank you so much. Please do me a favor, like it, share it, leave a comment down below because I like talking with you guys. But most importantly, more than anything else, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. A lot of people are watching the videos, but not hitting the bell. Hit the bell down below. If you're listening on the podcast feed, like the feed, follow the feed, rate us, leave a review, all of those good things, because that will help us get in front of more Ragin' Cajun fans just like yourself. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We'll see you guys next time.